tonight's topic is one that has everyone talking.
Oh,
I'm
yeah.
Siobhan Shaw.
I'm sure it is. Yeah.
It is. And that is Dr. Roni in the background. So on tonight's show, Real Talk, Red Hot News with Dr. Roni, we're diving in fork first into the Ozempic frenzy. Is it a miracle drug, or is it just a shortcut with a side of regret? I'm Siobhan Shaw, your host, and we're going to be talking weight loss, willpower, and whether the easy way out actually might come with some hefty hidden cost. And I am not talking your insurance premiums. This is not just about dropping a few pounds. It's about your pancreas, your hormones, your gut, and your actual quality of life. So why does this matter right now? Because more people are popping this shot than popping questions. Sounds familiar, right?
Yeah.
And we have to talk about what's really going on beneath the hype. Let's cut through the noise, call out the risks, and talk about what true health really looks like. No filters, no shame, no pharma fairy tales. And with me tonight, ready to go, I know, are Dodie Deets, our fabulous co-host. Dodie, let's spotlight you here. You have, oh, look at your earrings. They're gorgeous.
Well, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
Do you notice how slim my neck is?
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Dodie, you look so good, Dodie.
This is day 6.
I'm taking
day
after
7.
you.
Day 7.
You look great.
I'm starting to get my little wrinkles back, though.
No, you're not.
Go away.
You don't have any wrinkles. Cut it out.
Well, I do right here.
So saggy neck, Dodie Deeds has joined us.
Yeah,
But she looks fabulous.
Well, thank you.
You know, the filter on Zoom is really good. So don't worry. We don't notice it.
Yeah, I'll take my ears off too when I use it.
And seated there in the blue and green and white background, red shirt, ready to talk red hot topics and news. What's going on is our fabulous friend, Dr. Roni from
I think I have on my For Life one here. See.
Oh, you've got a For Life t-shirt on. Ooh. And For
That's
Life.
the red. That's when it's really red hot.
And we didn't plan this, but For
No,
Life.
we didn't.
For Life's team is in the background helping us with the Zoom call, and they're always here. So a shout out to Dave and Gabriella Daughtry's For Life team. We appreciate you, and we're excited to get this topic rolling. Okay, where do we go, Dodie?
When I was preparing the agenda, I was blown away. I know when you go to the pharmacist and you pick up your prescription, there's always those things that say could cause vomiting, nausea, diarrhea, and a bunch of other things, right? But this one takes the cake.
Yeah.
Like if I was wanting to have this to take this drug, I'd really reconsider not filling that prescription after even just writing a few of the side effects out. It was shocking to me. But it is not even the obese people we're seeing taking this. It's the people that are just wanting to lose, 60 pounds, 40 pounds. They're not obese by any means. But I think a lot of our society is all about the quick fix.
That's right. Yeah.
And not thinking about 10 years from now. Like, yeah, I'm going to look great at my son's wedding. But 10 years from now, when my eyesight's gone and my stomach is not working properly, I'm going to regret what I did. Right. So I think we can bring all of this to light on this call today when Dr. Roni touches on it, because there are some amazing things out there that we can do without having to subject ourselves to that shot.
That's right. I think, Dodie, the first thing that I wanted to mention is that when I started this whole Ozempic research and many, many dialogues with many, many people, because I've known as 21 pounds in 21 days, advocate, coach, doctor, whatever they call me. I thought about Ozempic for the serious obesity, but I think it's gotten out of control. So I just want to make it very clear. It's not, we got to think about all the names. I'm only going to mention 9, but there's many names for this classic drug called Ozempic. Then it was became semaglutide, and it became Majora. Then there's Zepbound. If I miss a few, I apologize. Then there's Trulicity. Then there's Bydureon, and then there's Byet. Then there's Victoza, and there's Saxatin, and I can go on. But I just want to mention that it is a classification of GLP-1 with so many different names to this, and you got to start wondering about why that is, by about how every pharmaceutical company out there jumped on the bandwagon for this miracle drug called Ozempic, which has many, many names, the GLP-1. And it gets very uncomfortable when people talk about the classic side effects, which makes it seem like it's not dangerous. Because when
Mm-hmm.
people say, oh, nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea, and a little gastric upset, it makes it seem like, oh, I can deal with that. You know, okay, if I vomit a couple of times this week, I can deal with that. But what it is that upsets me the most is that, and these are the people that I hear from, no one's talking about the fact that it creates thyroid cancer. No one talks about the fact that there's a high level of suicidal thoughts and problems with that. Nobody talks about the fact that there's a fatty liver syndrome. Nobody talks about the fact that there's not just diarrhea, but it leaves leaky gut syndrome for a very long time. No one talks about the fact that there's retinopathy. No one talks about the fact that there's a brain dementia part to all of this. And I can go on, but I don't want to make it a doom class, right? I don't want to make it seem like doom. If you want to ask me my opinion about what are the good parts, I think the good parts that it works. The bad part is that no one's using it correctly. And we're not using it for the right people. And I think the cosmetic part about this whole thing is it's hundreds of people have died and no one's talking about this. But they want to just keep talking about the gastrointestinal issues. No, but I want to talk about the hundreds of deaths and why these people died. I want to talk about the fact that why these people are not being taught how to test their blood sugar correctly. I want to talk about the fact that why it lowers not just the sugar, but it also lowers the blood pressure and it also lowers the vascular blood flow that creates retinopathy. And these are some of the reasons why people come to me. I wish they would come to me and just say, well, I had a little nausea. No one's coming to me talking about nausea. They're coming to me talking about the fact that they can't see now, or that they can't even go to the bathroom, forget constipation. They have not gone for weeks to the bathroom. And so these are the things that concern me the most. And these, when I talk to my colleagues, they said, we talked about um, metformin for years, about how bad this metformin was. It is nothing compared to what we're doing with Ozempic and all the 9 cousins, right? And so we talk about the complaints that the FDA have had in the last, I would say from 2018 to 2022, there were over, I would say, 10,000 complaints. You heard that? 10,018 to 2022. In 2025, there was over 30,000 complaints. So it's not getting better. And we talk about how we want the FDA to be transparent and how we would like to win trust over this. But it's getting worse. Instead of being transparent, they're hiding the deaths by not giving it the classification of an Ozempic death. What they'll say heart failure, or they'll say stroke, or they'll say a leaky gut that led to toxic uh, allergic reaction. And I can go on with all the things that they cover it up with, but the bottom line is that it's a very powerful drug that's being used in the wrong way for making thousands of these companies rich at the expense of innocent people dying. And so what my job is basically just to tell you the truth. And the truth of the matter is, and I say it all the time, let food be your medicine, let medicine be your food, because our bodies have never said that it was GLP-1 deficient, right? Our bodies always say, and it will never fail us, that it's nutrient deficient. So if it's nutrient deficient, what you have to do is give it the nutrients so that it drives the glucose down. What we want to do is we want to have our cake and eat it at the same time, however you say that, right? So what we want to do is we want to lose the weight, but we also want to eat the cake. And that's what's going on here. And it's causing a major problem, not just with these adults, but now the kids are getting a hold of it. You know, we just had, no one's talking about this, a death in California where a kid, blood sugar was 40, went into the emergency room, blood sugar 40. There's no reason why a 22-year-old, in my view, a kid would die with a blood sugar of 40. Find out that that child had a GLP-1. Which one it was? I just mentioned 9. There's others. Who cares which one it was? They're all GLP-1s, and they all drive your blood sugar down to the point where if you don't have someone around you at that particular time, you go into a coma. Now, here's the deal. It's not going to be given an Ozempic death. It's going to be given a heart failure. That death certificate is going to say heart failure. But what caused the heart failure? Why would a 22-year-old drop dead of a heart failure? Let's go back to figure out what that child did before she had the heart failure. And this is why we're losing faith in FDA. And this is why we have to have somebody like Robert Kennedy Jr. involved at this level.
Well, and you're talking about the FDA, so Dr. Macri, what is his first name? Marty
Marcus. Marcus.
He's a John Hopkins surgeon, and he is the FDA commissioner. And I just saw a video of him and Robert F. Kennedy at the FDA. He was giving Kennedy a tour, and he didn't express his concerns about Ozempic on that clip, but you can look it up, and he has concerns about Ozempic and all the other GLP-1s that are out there. So, you know, we might see some changes because we've gone through this before, Dr. Roni. I'm old enough to remember the fen-phen.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Right?
There you go.
What was it called? Fenfluramine? And
yeah. And all those
was,
people were dying from heart failure, remember?
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And so we don't learn, do we? Like history just keeps repeating itself. And for
just a new day, a new drug.
And the statistics, everybody's big on statistics, and in the nonprofit world, they want you to track everything, but it doesn't seem like they want to track the deaths as to what the actual cause of death is.
Right.
And do you want to say why that is?
It's about money. So, you know, our country is driven by money, and some of the most powerful corporations in the world, of course, you know that, is FDA. And so we can start to have like somebody like Robert Kennedy Jr. and his tribe creates more transparency with these companies, then we can have more control over what we say and what we do for our own bodies. But as long as we have people in charge that have more knowledge and we put our trust in them, we end up getting hurt.
Right. And the FDA itself, for everybody, it is a government agency, but the CDC is not. It's a corporation.
Mm-hmm.
So we think a lot of these groups are government agencies, but we have to do some research and find out who is actually speaking on behalf of the government and who is part of a corporation. And we know that corporations all are in it for the profit, and there's no problem with profit. Capitalism, makes the world go round. But I think we have to do some deep dives and find out what the narrative is all about. What's pushing the narrative?
Right.
Right.
And the more educated we get, the more we understand that, we have to be our own self-health advocate. And we have to start thinking about things like this and why we're making that decision. Because, I have like 3 people that have been hurt by the Ozempic that come to me. And one of the things that they regret was that their doctors never told them. And I said, well, your doctor's not in the education business. I'm sorry. That's not his job to tell you. His job is to diagnose you. You were obese, and his other job is to give you a medication because you're obese. That's the extent of it. And so until we can get doctors to marry integrative, holistic, alternative, there's so many names now, practitioners, we're not going to see it change very rapidly.
Love the idea of, we call it alternative health, alternative medicine, but it's based usually in plants and herbs and those types of things to get you feeling better. And so aren't plants the original? and they and then the hospitals and the pharmaceuticals, they're the alternative medications.
Right.
That's the alternative medicine.
That's the way
to what it should be
Yeah.
as human beings. That God gave us a planet full of plants that can heal us, and we've turned from them, and we've probably destroyed millions of them over the eons.
And we have to go back, and we are going back, but not fast enough. And Siobhan, you know that more than I know that we have to go back. And when I look back, going back many, many, many years, and I talk about my grandmother a lot, I, I come from that world where you just go and pick stuff out of the garden and you look at it with the dirt hanging down from the roots and going straight to the kitchen. That's the world I came from, and I could never understand why they would spray us with this, what is that poison they do a spray, make the grass go away and the dandelion and all of those things go away. And ground, yeah, round something, right? So anyway, it'll come back to me. I've got a lot of things in my head, but it wasn't until that started happening that we started getting rid of our herbs, our natural herbs. It wasn't until I went to California many years ago when I discovered the reason why they didn't have mosquitoes and butterflies and beautiful bugs and all these things was because the agriculture meant so much to them that they were killing off this. And all you would see was just beautiful, tall, growing vegetables that meant absolutely nothing because it was devoid of nutrition. I never saw corn grow in a matter of weeks. And when I saw that, I go, this is like magic. But when I realized that no, it's not magic, it's poison.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that we live in a poisoned world. We allow it to happen because if we all stood up, right, the house of cards would fall down.
Right.
And so we have to be strong, and we have to band together and say enough's enough. Integrative medicine, yeah, integrate growing food into your everyday. Integrate choosing alternative natural medications over popping pills, because as somebody like me, the only prescription drugs I've used in my entire life are antibiotics when I get a strep throat or a chest infection or something like that. I use supplements. I use good food. I'm not skinny, and I'm not like the healthiest looking person some days, right? But I don't need these pills. I don't need to go and get a prescription from the doctor. Yes, I've had times where I think my blood pressure, my pulse is racing, and what do I take? I find a product that works. And just to give For Life a little wow, you guys have some great products. I started taking cardio when my heart was racing a little bit. I was under a lot of stress, and I could feel my pulse at night just racing, racing, racing. I could hear it in my ear. I think I've talked about this. I started cardio. I take 2 in the morning, sometimes one before I go to bed, and that stopped the heart racing. So that high blood pressure came down. You know, it opened my vascular system up more, and it allowed me to not go running to the doctor and say, please put me on a blood pressure medication. I want to try something natural first.
There's a lot of ways to get your blood sugar down, and that's really what it's all about when it comes to the GLP-1s.
Yeah.
And I think that what people don't understand is that when you have a high glucose or high carbohydrate content, that our pancreas is involved. The other thing about that I didn't mention, because I can go through all the systems of how this drug affects the systems. It also affects the pancreas. I meant to mention that. That's at the top. There has been many people that have gone into the emergency room with pancreatitis, okay? Because it affects your pancreas, because our pancreas is responsible for the insulin going in and grabbing the glucose out of our bloodstream to use it for energy. Now, you heard me say to use it for energy. Now, all those people that are walking around with a glucose of 50 and 60, they have no energy. So the very drug that's supposed to teach you to lose weight is telling your body, go get some sugar. Now, doesn't make any sense at all. It
No.
doesn't make any sense at all. So when the person immediately after they're off of Ozempic, they gain all their weight back, and they start having all of these symptoms like Ozempic face that people are talking about, and dementia, not being brain fog, and all of these things, is because they are missing the nutrients to their vascular flow, and their vascular flow is left being non-void of the nutrients that they need, so they get brain fog and dementia brain. You cannot live a long time with a low glucose rate. And the moment that people get off of it, it's a rebound effect. Now you overdosing on glucose, and it's not their fault. No one's teaching them what's happening. And then they end up gaining their weight back. And then you have that yo-yo thing going on. And I always ask people, I said, so the number one question I ask them when they call me about this, I said, so how long you been on it? They said, oh, I've been on Trulicity for maybe a year. And I go, okay, wow. I'm thinking she's going to tell me she lost 100 pounds a year. So now I'm thinking about the detox that I do, 21 pounds in 21 days. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, she's gonna tell me she lost 100 pounds. And I'm going to say, great, at least you lost 100 pounds. How much weight did you lose? She goes, oh, 30 pounds. I says, okay, wait a minute. So you've been on this GLP-1 Ozempic type drug for a year. Yep. And you lost 30 pounds. Yep. And you're happy about that. Yep. So that's where the education come in, right? Because what they're saying is that my body was suffering from a low level of this GLP-1, not a low level of nutrients. And so when you give your body that drug, your body's going to always want that drug. Can you stay on this drug forever? No. And so the moment you get off this drug, what your body wants from you is nutrients. And if you haven't learned how to give your body the nutrients, it's going to rebound on you and you're going to gain all the weight back. It's not just a cute saying, make food your medicine and medicine your food. This has been what since Socrates' time. And we're still saying it and no one's doing it.
And what about the muscle loss that they're experiencing?
Yeah, lack of nutrients. Because you're going to have a problem with your vascular flow. You need, in order to have new muscles, you need protein. The last thing these people want when they're on Ozempic and these drugs is protein. So they're literally starving in the land of the plenty. Just think about it like that. They're starving. Talk to them. They'll tell you. They'll say, well, the best thing that ever happened to me is I don't eat like I used to eat. Okay, that's great. You don't eat like you used to eat, but so what are you eating? Nothing. I don't have an appetite, they say. I said, so you haven't had an appetite in a year? Now, this is what's going on in my brain. Either they're going to get an autoimmune condition Are they going to get cancer? Are they going to get pancreatitis? Are they going to get a leaky gut? But you cannot survive a year without nutrition. Just because you're not hungry doesn't mean you shouldn't eat.
And Dr. Ronnie, we had someone here in my community doing it, and she would put a social post out with the syringe or the product, and then she'd have some pierogies. And I'm like, oh my goodness.
What is that?
That's
Oh,
those they're potato and cheese wrapped in dough.
Oh God.
I'd be like, no, you can't do that.
So then you ask her, say, listen, this is what I want you to do for your homework. I want you to go back, research this, and I want you to give me the list of nutrients that's in Frogie, whatever it's called. I apologize.
Yeah. No, that's
I,
okay.
I want you to tell me what the nutrient content of this, whatever you're eating. And let's talk about
And
that.
that's a good question to
Yeah.
ask. And that's the thing, when these people are going to the doctor's office, is the doctor asking, what is your lifestyle like? What is your diet like? No, they're just writing the prescription and sending them out the door.
Yeah. Because it's not their job. They went to medical school, guys. What we have to understand is they are doing their job. They went to medical school to learn how to diagnose and give you a drug. Why are we asking them to do other things? And then we get mad at them because they're not doing it. So, they're closing hospitals all around the country because they're telling us these doctors aren't doing their job. And now they got to bring in more people like me, unfortunately, who's going to go in and teach these doctors. Or they got to go back to school to learn how to really take care of patients.
and we're going to get a live question from our audience, and it happens to be Gabriella Daughtry, who husband Dave and herself support the show. And Gabriella, it's good to see you. You're looking wonderful.
Thank you.
And what's your question?
No, it's not a question. It's awareness. I just want to I'm not sure if this has been mentioned. I came in like 15 minutes late, but okay. So this Dr. Brian Erdős, he wrote this book, COVID-19 Lies, and it's very informative. But he also is very knowledgeable with Ozempic and all these weight loss medications with GLP-1, and many doctors are promoting it in their practices here in San Diego. But did you know that, like Dr. Ronnie was saying, Ozempic and all the weight loss medications like it, they cause many other side effects, and like she mentioned. But did you know that it causes breast cancer, eye rotting within 12 months, okay, of taking it? It's been reported, not everyone, but some people. And it could even cause stomach, it paralyzes your stomach. But did you know that Ozempic comes from the venom of the Gila monster lizard? Look it up.
Yes,
And,
thank you. Yeah.
and it's very deadly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also more deadly than the diamondback rattlesnake. It is venom, okay, in small portion. And that's why you're having all these side effects. You're having, if you take venom every day, okay, or even a shot that will last you a week or a month, you're injecting microdoses of Gila monster venom. And that's why it is very bad for us. That's why Dr. Ronnie says you shouldn't be on this medication very long. It is a very deadly medication.
And that's why I love it, the fact that you come on and say that so I don't have to. I want to try to keep my license a little bit longer.
Well,
but you're absolutely right. And thank you, because I don't think until we can educate people, I don't think they get it. I don't understand why they think it's just cool to have diarrhea, nausea, pain in the stomach, and vomiting. And they don't go beyond that, and they know they're having brain fog and they can't think and they forget everything, and people start diagnosing them with premature dementia. But you know what? You got to ask, why is there such an increase in dementia at an early age, right? And you look at, we want to blame everything on the COVID shots, but you got to look at everything that's going on in our country.
One more
There
thing
was
before,
COVID, and then there's the Ozempic, and there's some other medications that are out there that I don't want to talk about today, but we're literally increasing the money flow rapidly on the other side.
and one more thing before we go on. I read an article a couple weeks ago that when you have major surgery and you're going to be under anesthesia, they ask you to be like to refrain from taking Ozempic or any GLP-1 medication for at least 2 weeks, because they have some patients have died. You know how they say not to eat anything after midnight?
Yeah.
Well, these patients have undigested food in their stomach, even if they don't eat anything after midnight.
Right.
And they basically aspirate, their food during surgery, and it can be pretty deadly. So if you're on it, and you're gonna have like major surgery, that's gonna require anesthesia, be off of it at least 2 weeks prior to your surgery.
And I was asking a patient of mine not too long ago, what makes you think that it's okay not to go to the bathroom more than 7 days? It's been 8 days. You haven't gone to the bathroom in 8 days. What part of your brain makes you think that that's okay?
I'd like to know who invented this and what were they thinking?
Money.
Yeah,
It always comes down to money, doesn't it? I mean,
Yes,
the root cause of everything.
it's mostly the cause of everything, because anything that's not natural, and why you and I are going to go down this road trying to teach people to go how to go back to nature, because if it's not natural and if it's not nature, it's money.
Well, I've got a new hat all ready to grow some food this season, and it could be a really great season of integrative health food for everybody. So I just want to bring on one more person. I know, Dr. Roni, we've got you a little over time, so 5 minutes, everybody. And look who's here, Claudia Bojorquez. She is with
Hi,
everything.
Claudia.
She is a
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
I have a really important question for me, because it is regarding Ozempic, but it's regarding my mom. And Dr. Roni, no one best than you, because I don't even know how to ask her doctor this without, it's just something that only you are going to give me the answer that I need. So my mother has been a diabetic for 35 years, and some people may be asking themselves this question. I hope I'm not the only one, but what actually happens with people that are diabetic? And I'll give you a little bit of the history. So she had been on metformin for over 35 years in the U.S., where nothing against the U.S., I love the U.S., but when she came to Canada and I took her to the doctor for the first time, um, I guess she hadn't really taken very good care of herself. She just took her morphine, 1 pill a day, and it controlled her diabetes. That's all I remember from the 30 years she took it. But what I do know is that in 2012, she came to live with me. By 2013, when I was able to finally kind of get her organized with a doctor, she was, I was getting her paperwork here, and um, her kidney was about to collapse. That's what they told me. Like they said, she said, I remember very well, she had a great nurse. It was not a doctor who took care of her. It was a nurse, and I love her for that. She said, your mom's about to go on dialysis. I don't understand how she's still going, on how bad her kidneys are, especially one. I need to get her off metformin right away, like not even 1 pill. My mom, she worked in cleaning. She always took like ibuprofen, 600 and 800 her whole life, which did not help because she always had back pain from making beds in hotels and all that. But so that nurse, who I think saved my mom's life, now I think, no, I know she saved my mom's life. She took her up the metformin and put her right away on Trajenta. So she said Trajenta was a much newer and better diabetes pill. And so my mom took the Trajenta. She started taking the KBU from For Life. I started putting her on that, and also we changed her diet to a very low sodium diet, so that we did everything we had in our power. Fortunately, she didn't go on dialysis and she didn't lose her kidney or anything like that. She actually, so that was 10 years ago, and today she's like her kidney not only maintained but got a little bit better, which is great because she's 85. Here's my thing though, about 4 years ago, I guess she's been on Ozempic. So about 4 years ago, they changed her from Trajenta to Ozempic, one shot a week, and it's it's wonderful. Like, to me, it's wonderful because it just maintains, she can have a little snack and her sugar doesn't go up, and she just lives a really beautiful life, and she's in great shape. And it's almost like every time she goes to the doctor, they tell her how good she is. Like, her kidneys are good, her diabetes levels are great. But then I've heard and met people that have gone. I've met personally a person, like you said, that said that when he was taking Ozempic for his diabetes as well, not to lose weight, he did get the suicide thoughts, and he walked into a train track, just because that's how his brain told him to walk into a train track. Like, I met this person, he told me this, this is firsthand, and he had to go off it. So what is your view on the people that, and sorry, I'm just going to add one more thing. When people started using the Ozempic for weight loss, Canada ran out of Ozempic, and my mom had to go into like this weird dose where they had to give her 36 pills of something, because there was no Ozempic for like 3 months,
Yeah.
because it had become a fad. And I said, they're going to kill the diabetic people if we, because but anyway, so my point is, what's your view on the diabetic people? Like, is it as bad on people that actually do have the glucose problem? Like, should I take
So
her off the
yeah.
Ozempic and look for some
So
alternative? Like, I'm so confused with this
so
topic.
yeah, because you should be confused because we're talking about two different things, right?
Yes,
We're
exactly.
talking about a situation where people are using Ozempic that they're not diabetics. That's
Mm-hmm.
what we're really talking about tonight, right? Your mom is a diabetic, which you told me, and metformin didn't work for her. So you actually had to go over to an insulin. So Ozempic
Mm-hmm.
is like an insulin for her diabetes, completely different medicine, right? You did the right thing. I would have taken my mom off of metformin if it's hurting their kidneys, because that's the number one side effect. And as a major side effect, it really literally can hurt your kidneys to the point where you can go into dialysis. So she
Mm-hmm.
had no choice but to go on an insulin type of drug. And that drug of choice was Ozempic. There's two things. Does she have type 1 or type 2? Because people who have type 2, they you can actually work with them on diets and all kinds of herbs and stuff like that. But if you have type 1, which means you're insulin dependent, right? Which
Mm-hmm.
basically means your mom needs to be on insulin. It's very difficult to get her off. Have I taken some people off of insulin? Absolutely. So we're talking about that situation. You have to manage her on the right insulin for her diabetes. This is not the same thing that we're talking about weight loss.
Thank you. That's what I thought, but I just wanted to hear it from you and to other
Yes.
people that may be asking that question, because she doesn't lose weight. In fact,
Yes.
she could, it's just a good thing for her, meaning one shot a week just literally maintains her sugar levels properly.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
on her case, she doesn't get any, depression or suicidal thoughts. It's just a good dose, and it's not very high. But then I
Yeah.
start hearing, yeah. Yeah. So thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Rani. It's
You're
it's a
welcome.
lovely topic. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Great seeing you.
And Dr. Ronnie, I think the cab that we're traveling in tonight, it's stopped to let you out. So I just want to say thank you for always being here to give us such valuable information so that we can make our own choices. And I think that that's what this show is all about.
Right.
Us providing information, creating awareness, and giving you a choice, because you are a sovereign being and you don't have to follow the hype. You can make your own choices. I'm a perfect example of it, and so is my husband John. We aren't on prescription drugs, and yes, we are over 60 years old, and most everybody I know my age is on some sort of prescription drugs.
Absolutely. And
It
my
might be
on
because
4
we
or
don't
5.
have children.
No,
No, that's gray hair.
I know that's gray
Less
hair,
gray
right?
hair, more Clairol.
You're all confused.
Right. Uh,
So thank you so much.
no, but you look great. You don't
Thank
look
you.
like you're over 60, so
No, you don't.
So I
Yeah.
haven't been hypnotized into self-destruction. So I just warning label is take a look at the ingredients on your food labels
Yeah.
and on your pill bottles, and heed those warning signs. And I guess
Yeah.
the minute you feel something, right, Dr. Roni,
Yeah,
get to the doctor and get off it.
right.
Yeah.
I went on, I did telehealth with one person, and I took all her drugs, and I took all her food that she ate in 3-4 days before I got there. When I got there, I took this long piece of roll paper that you use for, I don't know, art or something, and I rolled it from her ceiling all the way down to her floor, and I list all the chemicals and all the dyes and all the colors, literally from the top to, it was over, I would say 60 in a day that she was taking
Wow.
in. Yeah. And so I said, so if you want me to help you clean up your liver, oh, she was in liver failure. So if you want me to help you clean up your liver, we have to remove those 60 things on this list. She says, Jesus Christ, what am I going to eat? I says, what you're going to eat is nature. Okay. No one said that 50 to 100 years ago. What am I going to eat? It's everything to eat. Just go in the garden. And that's what we got to go back to. Chronic illness people have to learn that there's so much food for them to eat, but you can't open up a bag, a can, or a bottle,
And
because
that's
it has to come out of the garden.
we have to change this consumeristic mindset, this convenient mindset, running to the store when you're hungry, grabbing a bag of chips when you're depressed.
Oh.
Okay, Dodie, what did you get out of the show tonight?
Well, you know what? I did research who the inventor was, and it was a Danish psychologist, Dr. Jens Jule Holster, who invented Ozempic, but he stated that it's not being used the way he meant it to be used.
So
Very
that goes back
interesting.
to say what I said is all about the money.
That's right. And right now, I can tell you, it blows my mind. By 2030, this will be a $3 trillion business.
Yeah. At the expense of hundreds, if not thousands of people dying.
That's right. Yeah. But there's
Well,
so many easier ways, like fasting, getting out there, being alive, moving around, eating real food, sunshine, restful sleeps. Oh my goodness, these last 6 days, my sleeps have been like the dead. And I wake up feeling so wonderful.
want us to be alive and dead at the same time.
Right.
Yes. Sleep like the dead and be
Yeah.
alive when you're awake.
That's right. Right.
Everybody gets Easter
There we
off.
go. There
Enjoy
we go.
your ham, turkey, and a
Yeah.
side of Ozempic.
Thank you, guys.
Thank
Good
you,
night.
Dr. Ronnie. We
Night,
appreciate
Dr.
you.
Roni. Everybody can stick around for the after party. For everybody else, thank you for joining us. I'm Siobhan Shaw, Dodie Deets, and we want to say have a great week. Keep it real to heal, and we'll see you in 2 weeks after Easter to talk about measles. Oh, yeah.